Hello everyone, welcome back to the second part of the project we were working on before. Remember, we designed the header, the footer. Sorry, we've not designed the header and the footer, but we've done pretty much everything that has to do with branding concerning the website. Remember, we selected color, we defined colors. We also defined our fonts. Then we also did some preliminary settings on our WordPress dashboard before moving ahead with other things, right? I also taught you how to do a backup and restore, though we've not done a restoration, but we've done pretty much everything that has to do with backup. The plugins to use is on the group there. Anytime you need it, you can just check in the group and then use it. So that is just it. So in this second part, in this part 2, we are going to be doing quite a lot of things. So let me just first open the website we're trying to emulate on another tab. So just give me a second. Sorry, it's my Telegram, then the group, make video request. Alright, so this is the website we're trying to build, right? So we are trying to do our own, I'll say a clone of it, but yes, because we built it, we'll be able to edit it. We wouldn't have to buy this thing from this publisher. All right, so let me just show you, let me just prove to you that website that I was working on before would have finished by now. I mean, I wouldn't be able to open it. Remember, I told you on TestWP you have 2 days once you create a WordPress website. It takes just 2 days for them to delete it. Now I'm coming back after 2 days. Fortunately, I've taken a backup like I've told you guys, but if you were to be your hosting account, you wouldn't need to do all of this stress. But just because we are using a platform that is provided for us, so that we don't have to practice by buying, we don't have to buy a hosting plan before we practice our WordPress website. Now what I want to check now is the address of the website that we were working on. I was working on before in my last in my part 1 of this. So you see that the name of the website is Robin Industry. Now if I go to this Robin Industry s2.testwp.com, you will see that it will not work anymore. You now see that it is redirecting back to the home page of testwp.com, which is exactly what I was expecting, because it is always 2 days. Fortunately, I have a backup file that I've created on my laptop here. So I'm just going to look for the backup file. I think it usually ends with WPress. So look for a file that ends with WPress. I've taken one backup file. One is later than the other, so just trying to figure out which is the latest. I'm just going to go to get info. The one with the later date, with the later time, is the one with the latest, and I expect it to be bigger than the first one we took. Remember, in the video we took a total of 2 backups. One was just to show you an example, which was the earlier one I took. Now I'm doing a get info to see information about the backups. Now you can see that this second one I checked has a total size of 72 MB. The first one has a 46 MB size, which means that this bigger size has, and which is also at a later time, which is 5:54 p.m. is the real backup file that we need to progress, right? Because I think I took this 72 MB backup file just before I stopped the video. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set up another WordPress instance on TestWP. It is very straightforward. It just takes 2 clicks. So I'm setting it up, and I'm going to wait for it to set up my WordPress instance. Now it is done. You can see now it is giving me another address. So we're going to be working with this address now. Now you would see how easy it is to back up and migrate a site from this technique that I've taught you, right? You see now that I'm going to restore the backup that I did in the previous site. I'm going to restore it on this new website. So I'm just going to click on access it now, and I'm going to be logged into the new website that this WP has generated for us. As you can see here, it is always a plain WordPress website with nothing installed at all. Now we're going to restore our backup, but how do we do that? First off, we go to plugins, install plugins. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to click on this. Okay, got it. You know, as usual, we've been given another 2 days for this installation for this domain. So I'm going to click on OK, got it, and I'm just going to delete all the plugins first. It's best practice, but you can decide to leave it. It doesn't matter anyways, but I just feel comfortable deleting all the plugins first, and I'm going to now install my backup plugins. Alright, so now I'm going to add new plugin. I'm going to go to my Telegram channel to go get the plugins, right? So I think I installed them on, I added them on the premium plugins topic. Now I'm downloading these 2 plugins, all-in-one WP migration and all-in-one WP migration extension. So I'm just going to show in folder for all-in-one WP migration. So you're going to be installing all-in-one WP migration first before you install the extension up here. So let's go back to our website. I'm going to click on upload plugin. Now here I'm going to click on all-in-one WP migration first, right? I'm going to install it. It shouldn't take more than 10 seconds on a good hosting. Alright, so now I'm just going to activate the plugin. So now we have the plugin activated, but we also need the extension so that we can import potentially large backup files. So I'm just going to add a new plugin, and I'm going to go to upload plugin, choose plugin. Now I'm going to select the extension, so we have the full package now. So I'm going to install. Alright, so I'm just going to click on activate. Now we have our backup plugin. Now it's time to import the plugin that we add. So I'm just going to go to import from file. So I'm going to select the WordPress file, right? I'm trying to select the latest one, which is 72 MB, right? Then I'm just going to open. It is going to import the file onto this server so that we can restore it. Then we continue our work from where we stopped. Amazing, isn't it? Right, so that is how I move websites from that's how I move my data from domain to domain. For example, when I was working on this project called svglogos.net, right, I was first developing the project on this domain name called svglogos.branddetecture.com. It's still there. I've not deleted it, so you can see, right? But when I was done and I was ready to launch it, I migrated it using that same technique that I've taught you to svglogos.net. You can see that they look almost identical, except that I've done some more edits on this svglogo.net, and this was the domain I used to develop it. When I was developing it, I have not bought a domain name then, but I knew that since I know how to migrate websites from domain to domain, from hosting to hosting, I don't have anything to worry about. So right now, I expect that you should automatically know, or you should have known how to migrate a website from domain to hosting, or from hosting. It doesn't matter how different the two are. You can use the same method to migrate website from hosting and from the same hosting to the same hosting. Like it is called a backup restore process. So you can either use it for backup and restore or migration. So as you can see here, this website here has more contents than the other one here. So just saying that this was where I built this website, I now migrated it to this website. Just in case you are wondering what this website does, it is actually a website where people can download logos from. So that's just it. Enough of all that. So once the restoration process is done, right? Sorry I didn't stay on this screen while the backup. So once the backup importation reaches 100, it brings out this prompt. All right, once you get this prompt, you just click on proceed. So it's telling you that if you proceed, the new website is going to be overwritten by the imported backup, so which is not a problem in this case, which is exactly what we want. So I'm just going to click on finish. The problem here is that after clicking on finish, it is going to log you out, which is the reason why I said pay attention. Any link I click here now, once the restoration is complete, is going to ask me to log in again. right? So which is why I told you earlier that you should keep your password and username in a safe place. All right, so fortunately for me, I've kept my password and username in a safe place. So let me just go get it. So I'm just going to go to my notebook on where I take jottings, and you can see here, this is my username on this website, and this is our password. So I told you guys in the previous video, don't ignore this. In fact, I was telling you guys to pay attention in the previous video and to take every single step at that point seriously. Now you can see that my only saving grace towards accessing this website, even though I had the backup, was that I'm able to log in again. So I'm just going to click on login again. I'm very sure of my password. You can see now that I've successfully logged in again. I don't need to save my password, but you can save yours. One, because this domain again is going to get expired in 2 days, which will become automatically useless. So what is the point of saving the password? So let me just quit it and proceed with what we were doing. All right, so I'm just going to go to visit site so that I can show you where we stopped. This was exactly where we stopped in the last video, and we're just going to continue from there. In the last video, I told you guys we're going to be building the header and footer first before we start to build the other parts of the home page. So it is in this order. So let me just it is in this order. We will build the header first, then we'll build the footer, then we'll build the hero section of the home page. In the last video, I explained to you what hero section means and other sections of the home page. So just so that you can see very well, I'm just going to, so this is exactly what we'll be building, right? All right, so this is what we will be building in this order before we now progress to other inner pages. All right, so I'm going to teach you how to dynamically build websites so that you build faster and more accurate, and your work is going to look very professional. And I'm also going to be telling you things that you should be alert, you should take note of. Remember, the first thing you should take note of before you start any website project is the branding, which we have treated in the last video. Now, the next thing you should take note of is the spacing, arrangement of elements, how accurate your spacing are, the spatial differences between the elements. It is not that one section will be far from another section, then the next section will be nearer to the middle section. No, that is poor web design. So I'm going to be teaching you all of these things as well. It may not make any sense to you now, but when we get there, it will make sense to you. All right, so now let's close this home page. We are done here. All right, so now we want to start by building the header, right? What I would normally do is install a plugin called install a plugin called JetMenu, right? So we are just going to go to gpldl.com and we are going to install JetMenu. This is one of my favorite websites when it comes to downloading GPL WordPress plugins. In one of my videos, I've explained what GPL plugins is. I think you should check where did I post that video. I'm trying to check where I posted that video on my group. Yeah, so this is it. So let me just maybe I'm just going to do it later. All right, so I'm just trying to forward it to the appropriate topic on my Telegram channel. All right, so I hope you understand. So in this, we are just going to download a plugin called JetMenu. menu. That is one. Then we are going to also install a plugin called JetBlocks. Let me see if there's anything like that. JetBlocks. All right, so here it is. We're also going to download this plugin. So the normal workflow is after downloading any after downloading a plugin from any website, no matter how much you trust the website, you should always scan it. So you're just going to scan these two plugins. It's virus free. Let me scan. What was the name? The name is what? What's the name of the plugin that was just scanned now? I just want to be sure. Okay, JetMenu. So the name of the plugin we just scanned now is JetMenu. So now I'm going to scan JetBlocks next. It's just as simple as dragging it here, and I'm going to confirm. You can see that the first one was faster than the second one. The first one was already being scanned by somebody before. The second one, we are just scanning it for the first time, so that is why it's taking so much time. Remember, I told you earlier, one of the reasons why I like this process, this virus total, is that once somebody has scanned a WordPress plugin before, it doesn't waste your time like it is doing now. It will just tell you the result that, look, the plugin you have just scanned doesn't have a virus because somebody has scanned the exact same file before and it didn't have. Alright, so while we wait for it to finish scanning the second file, let's upload our JetMenu, which is the one we scanned first. Alright, we just go to plugins, add new plugin. You will notice that when we restore the backup, all our plugins from the old website in the part 1 came back, and that is very normal. And all our stage where we got to before we took the backup was there intact. Alright, so I'm just going to add a new plugin, and I'm going to add, what is it called? JetMenu first, because we scanned it, and you can see how I'm adding a plugin. I'm adding a plugin directly. Sorry, I'm adding a plugin directly from my downloads browser. From my downloads folder. It's very easy for me that way. Just drag it. Just drag it and put it on top of this shows file, and automatically it is there. It's far more convenient than selecting it and looking for the file like this. Alright, so you can use either of the two methods. Which one works for you? I'm just going to click on install now. It's going to take a while, and I'm just going to click on activate plugin. Alright, now we have the plugin called JetMenu. Another plugin I'm going to install, you may get this notification after installing the JetMenu. So it says JetMenu data update. You can just click on start update. It just takes 1 second. Once that is done, you go to plugin again, install plugin. I hope that by now our scanning on virus total is done. So it is completed with 0 viruses. Now let's go and install the next plugin, which is called JetBlocks. So I'm just going to click on upload, and click on here, and I'm going to import JetBlocks here. We've already installed JetMenu, right? So this is JetBlocks. Now I'm going to click on activate plugin. Now that we have JetMenu and JetBlocks activated, it is now time to start building our header, right? So I'm just going to click on start update, just like we did for JetMenu. Start update, click on start update. Update is complete. All right, so once that is done, we are going to be needing menu items, right? What are menu items? Menu items are these things I'm highlighting on the top of this page. Without it, we will not be able to build any navigational items. Although we don't have pages yet, but we are still going to try to build some menu items so that our website can look whole, right? So our website can make sense. So to do that, I'm just going to go to appearance, menus, right? I'm going to click on menus, and I'm first going to give my menu a name. All right, so I can say practice menu. You can give it any name you want, just for identification purposes, nothing more. What I'm just going to do next is I'm just going to click on header, right? But it doesn't matter whether you click or not, at least from the best of my knowledge. But just to follow best practices or regular or conventional practices, you can just click on header, name your menu, click on header, and then click on create menu. You first have to click on create menu first before you are able to add anything at all inside the menu items. Now, because we don't have pages yet, right? The only page we have is the home page, which is the front page. So we're gonna add that first. Add home, right? So we have home, but we need more pages so that our website is going to look realer, or at least like original. So let's come here and copy some of the page navigational menu items. So I'm just going to click on, no, we don't need to copy this, it's okay. So let's add about. So we're going to put a pound character here for now, right? We are going to put a pound character, then call it about. Once I click on add to menu, it is going to add to this, it's going to append itself to the bottom, right? I'm just going to add more menus, right? Let's look at, we have blog. So I'm not going to say blog pages, I'm going to say blog, right? So let me just add it to menu, right? And I'm going to say services, add to menu, and under services I can just put some things like writing, sorry, it doesn't matter anyways, but yeah, writing, add to menu, and I'm going to put things like design, or I can say graphic design, add to menu. All right, so these services, they are children. I mean, this writing and graphic design, they are children of services. What that means is that they can only show until services is clicked on or hovered upon. So what that means is that they should not show until somebody does this. It should not be on the top level menu. In WordPress, any menu that you can see immediately without putting your mouse on it is called what? A top level menu. So I'm telling you all of this so that when you go outside and you want to communicate with another designer, you will know exactly what to say. All right, so I'm just going to put in this, shift it a little bit, indent it, bring it a little bit. Automatically, that means that writing and graphic design, they are children of services, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and add more menu. So we have contact. I'm just going to go on URL and contact, which is also a top level menu. I'm just going to add it. Now we have our menu set up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 top level menus and 2 sub menu, or also known as drop down menus under services. So I'm just going to click on save menu. Now, once that is done, we already have a menu. All right, now one thing I want you to know is that similar to having multiple apps on your phone, or multiple stuff, or multiple clothes in your wardrobe, WordPress also allows you to create multiple menus, but you can only use one. At least to the best of practices in web design, you can only use one at the same time in your design, because having 2 separate menus on top of each other is possible, but it is not done. But I'm just trying to tell you that WordPress allows you to create as many menus as possible. It is up to you to decide which one to use or how many to create, or why you even need more than one menu. But so just in the event that I want to create another menu, I can always come here and create it. But this is okay for now, and these are our menu items. Now let me go back to creating the header. How do we create a WordPress header with Elementor Pro? What we are going to do now is we go to dashboard. Remember, I noticed that this debugger is here again, which is not something we need, right? But I don't want to bore you again with another complicated procedure of going to install a file manager and then going to WP config like we did in the previous class. So we are just going to ignore it. But you really don't need to do anything at all. Also, for those of you that you have your own hosting plan and you are not using this platform, you will not see Elementor debugger here, and that is not a cause for an alarm. We are probably not going to even touch it at all. I'm just saying. All right, so now let's go and build our header. How do we build the website header? We go to we go to templates and we go to theme builder. Once we are in there, you can see one of the reasons why I decided to deactivate you can see that temporary red text that we saw just now, right? Some of the reasons why it is good to put your debug to off, and if I see it too often, I might just go and do that thing again I did with the file manager in the first video. All right, so it is not a cause for an alarm, but I really don't like seeing code anytime I'm designing websites. Anything that has to do with code, it kind of pukes me. All right, so here I'm going to go to team builder. You can see all this complaint and nagging, you'll be seeing it because that debug mode is on. Now we are going to focus on building the header, which is this. So I'm going to click on header. Now we are in the we have the canvas for building our header. We are just going to dismiss this because we are building our header from scratch. To build your website header, you first need to create a section. You just click on the plus button, then you select Flexbox. Once you select Flexbox, you are going to select this one that goes from left to right. So this arrow shows the direction of any element that you add inside that section. The elements are going to flow from left to right. All right, so here it is. So what that means is that anything I had inside will flow from left to right. Look, do you understand? So that is it. So that is just for demonstration. Let me undo it. And so first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to add our site logo. So site logo is already a widget here. Let me put in the site logo here. Now you can see here, site logo. I'm going to reduce the width of the site logo. As you may have noticed, reducing the width of the site logo is still retaining the size of the canvas, or the size of the bounding border, right? It's still taking a lot of space. It means that even as small as this logo is, if I'm to add another thing on the side, like an heading now, it is going to start from here. Meanwhile, there's still white spaces here, and you will notice that setting this alignment to the left often will not help. So how do we do it so that this useless space that is taken will be reduced? All you need to do is click on the image, go to advanced, select width, and select custom. Now set the width in terms of ratio. Now you can see. Now go back to the image and go to style and select this width, expand this width to be 100%. So what that means is that it is going to take the 100%, it's going to take the total width of, total space. That's why it is called 100%. It's going to take this total space of the internal, bounding box, right? So here is for the whole bounding box, this setting. So it's just selecting the logo and coming out to these settings, which is the advanced, then setting the custom width to something like 6%. We are not going to be using percentage here. I think I like it that way, but let's use percentage. It's cool, so that we can have a balanced when we start adding more content like menu items and all of that. All right, so now we have 10%. So our logo is taking like 10% of our header. So let's see, which is not bad. All right, what are we adding next? Here is supposed to be a menu item, right? But because of the way that this menu was arranged, right, you can see that the menu was arranged towards the left, right? Doesn't matter. All right, let's see. I'm just going to add my menu. Initially I wanted to add a container like this and put it, but let me don't bother you with that. Let's just add the menu straight up. So I'm just going to type menu. So I'm going to click on this I'm going to click on this widget that says navigation menu. So I'm just going to go here and put it here. Now you can see we have our own navigation menu here, and it's more aligned to the left than right, because you can see here we have so many empty spaces here, yet our menu is getting close to the eyes, which is very normal. So what we're going to do in this case is go to advanced, and all right, it's not advanced. What we are going to do is I'm going to click on this right? I'm going to click on this parent container here, parent container, which is the container housing all of them, and I'm going to click on justify content and click on space between. What that means is that it is going to make sure that the elements inside this container, which is the site logo and navigation menu that we had, are going to be they are going to be touching both ends. So one is going to be touching the right hand side, the other is going to be touching the left hand side. Other justify content options are this: center, start, space around, evenly, end. So you can see that the best option we have here is is space between. So it's going to put a space between them so that each of them touch both ends. Now we want to add what we want to add is search menu, right? A search form, right, to our website. I'm just going to add this and paste. So I can actually reorder it from here. So I'm just going to bring the search after the navigation bar. So you can see that we have a problem. What is the problem? The problem is that because there's actually no justify content value that we can use to make this menu item, this menu look like this one, right? We are going to have to build a container inside, and just watch. So I'm just going to go to this, and I'm going to put a container here in front of this Milo here. Sometimes it doesn't get it. In that case, you can always reorder using the navigator. Don't get lost, please. It's very easy. Sometimes when you are trying to drag elements inside the canvas, it is not going to be accurate. It is annoying. It is so annoying. So in that case, you can drop it anywhere, then you reorder it using this navigator, right? You can see it here. So you are going to reorder it. Just in case you are wondering how to pop up the navigator, this is the setting. You can use it to toggle navigator on and off. This is the test setting here. All right, so what we want to achieve here is that we want to put in our menu here so that we can have different controls. What we want to achieve is this type of menu. We don't want to our menus to be, our elements on the header to be spaced evenly. So I'm just going to come here, copy, paste it inside the container. So you see that it is inside the container, and I'm going to go here to copy and paste our search widget inside the container. You can see now I have the menu item here, I have the search here inside the container. Now I'm going to delete this one outside here. So delete. Now I'm going to go to our container settings here. Click on the container itself, or you can click it from the navigator here. Sorry, that was a mistake, the emoji. All right, I'm going to click on the navigator, right? I'm going to click on the container, right? Then I'm going to make it so that the direction of everything inside faces from left to right. That is the new Elementor workflow now. Gone are the days of inner sections and all of that. Now this is a lot more easier. So I'm going to click on row. Can you see now? Next thing I want to do, I'm going to go to advanced, then I'm going to hold on. Yes, justify content, end. So that is it. You can see now that we have achieved. Don't get confused. Everything I did happened in the container and not inside the element inside. It is only the container settings that can help us determine how the elements inside are aligned, right, in that manner. All right, so you can see now that we've been able to achieve this. The only thing we will now do now is to turn this search widget into an icon instead of, so I'm just going to go to full screen. All right, so when you click on it, you get this, just same way they add on the website. All right, so let me just close it. We can be customizing the search later, but you get the point. Now we are done with the website header. So it's good practice to color the whole website header section white, right? We are done with the website header for desktop. you have to design website header for mobile in a separate manner, and I'm going to show you how to do that in normally it should be possible designing Elementor header that works on both desktop and mobile, but if you want to have more flexibility with your design, it is always a good idea to have separate headers for desktop and another one for mobile. That is just the way we experienced designers do it. Now I'm just going to make sure that the color of this container, which is the container housing the whole of the element, even including the container that I put inside. The amazing thing about Elementor containers is that you can put container inside of container inside of container inside of container. This thing is known as nesting, and it has made designing complex website layouts very easy. Okay, so just anytime you see a container is just like a parent container that always behaving like a baby. Do you understand? What that means is that it is a container itself, but it can also behave like a baby. It can hide itself inside a mother container, which is this. You'll see that if I delete this mother container, everything on the website will go. Do you understand? But if I delete the baby, the mother will still exist, which is the container. So you can see that we still have a container here. And so that is, I hope I've been able to help you establish a relationship between mother and child. Right, so this is a container. You can use a container anytime, especially if you need to do some complex layout. More on that as we progress in this section. So this is the search menu. You can notice that it has a background, which I don't want. Right, it has this gray background, and which cannot be found on this website. So we are going to remove the gray background. I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to go to style, edit. So let's see if there is a background. So this is the background color here, settings. I'm just going to bring this slider to the end, and you will see that the background color is gone. So you can see now that we no longer have background color, which is actually a good thing if you ask me, because it's more aligned to this website that we're trying to achieve. All right, so now the next thing is to style our menu item here. To style our menu, you will notice that their own menus, everything is in uppercase, which means capital letter, and we are going to do the same thing in web design. If you want to turn a small letter text to a capital letter, it is always easy to do that using CSS, and in Elementor our style tab can help us do that. So I'm just going to click on this menu, and I'm going to go to style tab. There's quite a lot of settings to change, but first thing we want to change is the top level items. We want to style it because look at this website, the top level items and even these drop down menu items are all in uppercase, and we're going to try to do the same thing. So I'm going to go back to our website and style the top level items to always have an uppercase. To do that, I'm just going to click on under top level menu items here. Here we have typography, right? So I'm just going to click on this, and you go to transform uppercase. Now if I scroll out, you can see that all of them has now magically turned to capital letters. Now I can see that the font sizes are a bit too large. We can actually deal with that by decreasing or giving it something very small. I mean, not too small though, just giving like 14. 14 is still a healthy font size for a menu. Alright, so now we have our menu looking good. We can modify the spaces between these menu items, but I think it is okay for now. Next thing we want to do is make the sub menu text to also be capital letters. To do that, we are just going to go to the drop down section under style, still under style for menu. So I'm going to click on drop down, and I'm going to click on drop down, and I'm going to click on typography. Right, this talks about the typography of the drop down menu items. Of course, as done previously, I'm going to set the transform to uppercase, and now anytime I drop down, I should have uppercase. Now I notice that even the drop down are now bigger in text size than the parent item, which is an abomination in web design. So I'm just going to go and change the parent item drop down to like 12. Let me see if it is good. No, it is not. So let me just leave it at 14 so they can have equal font sizes. All right. We shouldn't forget to set a white color for this menu background. Otherwise, it may be transparent and we will not know. So I'm clicking on the section. You can see the mother of all, which is the main section, and I'm going to go to background type and I'm going to set it to white. You will not notice anything, and that is totally fine. Another thing I would like to set is the distance between these sub-menu items and the menu item. So let's see if there is a menu that allows us to do that. So I'm going to click on the menu and I'm going to go to style. Under style, I'm going to look for gap before, no, not it. Let's see drop down, and let's see if there's a settings that allows us to do that, to set a gap before. Let's see if this settings works. Gap before first level, so I put it on 6. Yeah, I think it did work. So let me see if increasing it drastically will have any effect, just to confirm that it is working. All right, you can see that the settings is working. So let's put it in something like 8, which is not bad. So that we have a gap between the menu item and the drop down menu item. We can further design it, but let's stick to this website design, right? Should we, or we should do our own design? All right, so let's do anything, So here I want to design the drop down icon and items to have this type of color scheme, but I may not want to waste our time though. But let's see how close we can get as far as that is concerned. So we go to drop down and we select the background color for that drop down. Drop down, right? So let's see background color. Let's see if we have the color saved on our color scheme. I selected light teal, which is one of the colors that we saved at the beginning of the step 1 of this video, version 1 of this video. So you can see we are getting close, right? We are getting close. And I also noticed that these in their own side they have dividers, right? So let me see if we can actually get a divider. So you can see here we have a setting called divider in the menu settings. So the reason why I installed JetMenu in the beginning, you can see now that it gives us access to different kind of settings that the default WordPress menu wouldn't have given to us. Now I'm going to click on border type and I'm going to make it solid. Border width, I'm going to give it like 2. So let's see the effect on our divider. So I think this is too thick, man. So let's just go back and set it to 1 and let's see the effect again. All right, this is not bad, but the color is too black. So we're going to set a color that matches our brand. So the border color I'm going to set here, I think I've added quite a number of colors. Let me see if cream works, and I'm going to see cream doesn't work because it is lost. It almost looks like it is white. So I think brown will work. This brown that we added, a bit brown. So let me see. Does it look like the old website? Does it look like this website? No, it doesn't. So they use teal, not brown. So I'm just going to go to teal and I'm going to darken it a little bit. To do that, I'm first going to select the teal and I'm going to draw this slider like towards the dark area here. So let's go back and see. You see, all of these small differences that I'm fighting with is what will now make the big difference when it comes to your web design. The outcome, the final outcome of your design. So in case you are wondering that why is this man too specific or too why is he a perfectionist or trying to make it too similar to the old website, it's just for practice. You necessarily don't need to make your own project exact same copy of your inspiration, but this is just for practice to show that how far we can go in terms of making our design as similar looking to the source as possible. All right, so here we go. We have something very close, but it still needs a lot of work. You can see here, let's give the border width like 1.4 so that it's a little bit thicker. All right, then the color I think can be made to be a bit lighter, so I moved it up a little bit. No, it is not looking good. This is one of the challenges you would normally have as a designer. You can see their own border color is not that. So what I can do is I'll increase the transparency like this, and let's see. I can see that our own is too thin, so let me give it like 2, which is the border width. So let's see again. Now I can see that it is too fat, so I'm just going to give it like 1.8. You can see the difference between an experienced web designer and a newbie. A newbie will just set any value and move on, but that will affect the total outcome of your website. So I think this is a good value now, 1.8, right? But I'm still looking at this divider line, and I'm seeing that it is not looking as exactly as this as possible. So what we are going to do to the divider line is add more transparency. So I'm just going to move the transparency slider towards the left. Now we have done that. Here we go. Now you can see this looking fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking fantastic. Now the next thing we want to set, sorry, just a mosquito here. The next thing I want to set now is the hover settings, right? So that when they hover on the menu items, what should happen? So let's see how we can do that. Top level items, sorry, drop down, right? Drop down items. Drop down item. Here, let's see. I'm trying to do so that when I hover on the menu, I drop down menu item, the background color for that particular part changes. So item styles, let's see if that works, which is for the drop down menu. Are we in the drop down menu section? Yeah, we are. So let's go to item styles. I think that is where the settings will be. So where is it? Oh, I saw item styles now. All right, this is it. We have it, item styles. So I'm just going to set the background menu background color to bit brown, which is the color of the item, then the color of the item itself, which is the text color, to white. Let's see if that works. Wow, can you see that it works now? Let's see how close we are to the source. All right, in the source page, the text menu is like I think it's light teal, but then it is dark. It is like a dark teal. Then let me see, yeah, something like that. Yeah, if we want to get the exact color, though, we can do that, but I mean that's too extreme. To get the exact color, all you need to do is press Ctrl Shift and C on your laptop, right? Then you inspect it. Now you can see the exact color is no. Yeah, I'm not seeing the exact color here using that method, but I always have a reliable way to do that by using my device that I told you. So this is the exact color, right? That is the exact color of the background. It's a tool that you may not have access to, but once you have a plugin that allows you to pick color on your screen, I've already explained this in the last video that we did. Look for a plugin as a designer. All of those things are one of those tools that you need to get the exact colors of any page, right? So let's see the drop down menu. Let's go back and set it to be the exact color of this. So here, this is the color. I almost got it. Wow, I almost got it. I think we already had it before. So yeah, so let's just not waste our time much, but you get what I mean. If I want to know the exact color that was used here on this section, let me just try and see. You can see this is it. So let me just go and paste it here as the over color here. No, sorry, not top level items. It is under drop down. We want to remember that we are setting styles for the drop down, not top level. So here, under drop down here. So what is going to be the background color for sorry, under item styles, what is going to be the background color when somebody hovers? Let's just set it as ash. That's the background color based on our source website, right? Yeah, right. Now let's go and see ours. You can see now that it is looking alike, except that the text color is black, not white. Let's see. Yeah, this text color is black. So you can see that I gave it the text color variable here in our global colors that we set at the beginning of this section. One thing I also noticed is that in this page, the text color was black. So I'm also going to set the text color, the original text color, to be black, which is the normal. So I'm just going to set it to this color. It's not exactly black, but it is the color we saw from the page. So we are just going to abide by that. You can see now that we have almost the same thing here. So you can see. Alright, so now we are going to set the color of these menu items from brown to black. How do we do that? Same thing we did for item style. We're just going to scroll up and we look for top level items, which is this top level items. What is the text color? It should be black, which is the text variable that we have. Now you can see now here we have it like that, which is very good. Let me see. Yeah. One thing you may notice is also I think the boldness of the text. On this website, the text are a little bit bold. Let's see how we can increase it on our own too. We go here, we click on here, we click on here, and we go to top level items. Under typography, there's what we call font weight, which is the weight of the font. I'm just going to set it to like medium. Yeah, so we have something a little bit bolder. Yeah, so I think this works. Yeah, this works. So we have a bolder font. So this arrow that looks very fat, we can actually change it to something thinner. Let me see what options we have. So I'm just going to go back to content and top drop down icon, which is this. I would want to change this icon. You can see how I clicked on it. Just click on the icon. I'm going to change it to down. Let me see if there's an option for it. These are all the options we have. Let's deal with it. Okay, yeah, I think this is okay. So all I just did was change it, and let me change for this as well. So I'm just going to type right, which is this, and go right, and I'm going to click on insert. So this is talking about, you know that sometimes you have sub-menus of menus that goes right. Like when I click on this graphic design, another menu can just spring up on the left. That is if you add it under menus here, right? Something like this. But no, we don't have something like that. So yeah, that is what these particular settings mean. But yes, we don't need it, but it's just okay that we do. All right, so now we are done with our menu. Let's see what other options we can play with. Now this is our menu item for menu design for desktop. I'm going to click on this. I notice that the space, the gap below here and the gap on top of this menu and down is too much. I'm just going to try to reduce it. One way to do that is go to advanced, then just remove these two things here. Automatically you notice a change. You can see that there is a change. Now it is a bad idea to have your logos touching the roof of your browser, so we are just going to add a slight padding to the top and bottom. So I'm just going to give it like padding top, I'm going to give it like 5, right? So you can see that the small space now shows. Then padding bottom, I'm also going to give it like 5, but the space on the bottom looks very big. no thanks to this, right? You can see that this is the culprit. How can we fix this? We can attempt to fix it by aligning self to center, right? Still not fixed, but it looks a lot better that way, right? So I mean, this is still not bad. Yeah, this icon as well, you can click on it and go to advanced and align self to be centered so that everything is centered. You can also do that for the same thing for this menu, but I think the menu is already aligned itself to center, so it won't change. All right, so now we have a complete menu for the desktop. If I click on publish, I need to specify what conditions it should appear. So I'm going to specify all sites so that it can appear on all parts of our website. So I'm just going to click on a publish, add condition, leave it on the entire site because we want the menu to appear on our entire site. I'm just going to click on save and close. Now our desktop menu is very ready. Go to our website. Let me refresh it now. You can see now that we have a desktop menu. It's because I zoomed it in so you can see. So you can see now that we have a menu item for desktop. Now this big logo you are seeing here is the footer. We are going to deal with it shortly. All right, so this is the header, and you can see this is the website homepage. When you click on this logo, it goes to the home page. All right, what we have not done yet is the what do we call it, the mobile menu. All right, now it's time to design the mobile menu. How do we do that? Let's go back to our Elementor header edit. I'm just going to duplicate this section, duplicate. So we know that this is for desktop, this is for mobile. Now how can we adjust it? So let me first see how this website did their own. All right, let me just do this. All right, you can see that all they had is an hamburger here, hamburger menu here, right? And we are just going to try to replicate the same thing. All right, so I'm just going to go here and let's see. I noticed that the site does not have a search on mobile. Let me see. Let's see whether they have a search functionality. Like, how will you have search on desktop you won't have on mobile? Man, this is very bad, and that is one of the issues with having a theme on your, that is one of the issues of buying theme on or anywhere. They normally don't think deep. It is when you buy it that you now see that you need a requirement that the theme doesn't have. It will now turn to a back and forth. But luckily for us, I'm going to show you how to add a search menu to the mobile version of the website as well, so that it is not only the desktop version that will have search functionality. So now I'm just going to change to mobile view. I think we should use the same view for tablets, but now let's use the same view for tablets. Remember that I duplicated this. This was strictly going to be for mobile, and I think we have enough real estate for tablets here. So to do that, I'm just going to click on here, and I'm going to shift this custom width to something a little bit bigger. Something like 100 px is okay for desktop, right? And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some padding to the left and right of this tablet header. The shortcut I'm using to switch between tablet and mobile views while designing Elementor is Ctrl Shift and M. Ctrl Shift M, Ctrl Shift M, M for mango. So just in case you are wondering, how is this man doing it? All right, so let's go back to our tablet design. This we are designing for tablets. We are designing this header, how we want it to look when people using tablets visit the website. So I'm just going to click on this, and I'm going to give it a padding on the left and right. So to do that, I'm going to put it in here like 5. But one thing you will notice is that I only put the value in one place, and the reason is because this place is checked. So anytime this place is checked, it will link all the values together. So it means that anything I do in one box will appear other boxes.
will affect other boxes. But I only want to apply paddings to the left and right of this nav menu. So I'm just going to remove the linked values together. Like this is already linked, so you can remove it. Once you remove it, you notice a slight adjustment, a slight shift in the layout, but it doesn't matter. Just put in your values. So I'm going to put a padding value of 5 pixels on the left and another 5 pixels on the right, so that there is some breathing space. Can we make it 10 pixels? Let me find out if that works. I think 10 pixels is too much. What do you think? Let me just take it back to 5. Alright, but you can put 10 pixels. Just be mindful of the rest of your designs if you want to. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter whether 5 or 10. Just make sure that none of your body content reaches farther than crosses this white space. Alright, so let's focus on the designing for mobile. Now, this one that we designed for mobile and desktop, we can hide them so that when people are on mobile, they don't see them, they don't see it. So I'm just going to click on the whole container, and I'm going to go to responsive, and I'm going to hide on mobile portrait. That way, when people view on mobile, I'm using Ctrl P to see the full screen version of our website, the same way people will see it. That way, when people view on mobile, it will hide itself, it will not show. They will only see the one we are going to design shortly. Alright, first thing first, we want to increase the icon. So we go to advanced. It's just the same thing we did for tablet. I think 100 pixels too for mobile will not be bad. Alright, so let's give it 100. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so here this we don't want it, so I'm just going to get rid of this, right? But I'm going to leave this icon, though I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, because I think that is that is the normal so it's supposed to be big. Yeah, so this is okay. So I think this is too big, so let's give it like 80 or 90. Alright, so don't worry about everything overlapping each other like this. I know what to do, don't worry. So what we are going to do next, in fact, let me just do it now. You can see that this one is like this, so I'm just going to click on this container and reduce the width, so that it can come up. So I've clicked on the container, and let me check whether I can reduce it in it's not working. So what we can do is first make sure that this container has a direction of left to right, which it does. Second thing is, let's remove the space between, which there is no effect, right? Lastly, no, I'm supposed to do, this is the container that we hid, right? This is the container I'm working on. Alright, yeah, I get. So I'm trying to balance this thing up here. So what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to do is make this thing come up so that it can be on the same line with this. Alright, so just hold on while I do that. I'm going to go to advanced. Layout. Container layout. Container width. I'm going to make it full width. Yes, I think that is the. So I'm going to change this to percentage, and I'm going to. So can you see now? So that's the trick. You have to make the container, which is the container inside the mother container for the mobile container, right? You know that the first one now
we did it for desktop. It's the second one that we did for mobile. So which is this? I don't know why it is big all of a sudden, or which okay, yeah, this is it up here. All right, so remember that we are working with this second container for mobile and not this. It's this. So the site logo is here now, and the same attribute, which makes everything to be aligned to this direction, is already inside this container. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to reduce the size of this toggle icon, so because it looks too big. So let me just give it like 80. 80 is okay. All right, what I'm going to add before this icon is an Hamburger menu widget. So let me find out if we have. So we have it. So Hamburger panel. It is called Hamburger panel. It is because I installed JetBlocks. That's why I have it. So I'm just going to bring it here. I told you earlier, sometimes it is very hard to be accurate when you are dropping widgets. You can just drop it anyhow, then you arrange it back. This can be tricky. You can see that this Hamburger panel, it is outside of this container and not inside. It's supposed to be inside. So you are going to move it up so that it is inside. You can see how I did it. Else, it is going to be outside. It's very tricky, so you have to be careful. All right. And once you move it in, it is always very difficult to move it outside back. And that is exactly what we want. Make sure that the menu item is inside. The Hamburger menu is inside. So it's okay that we have a menu. You can have it either before your search bar, or you can have your search bar first and you have your menu here. Either way is good, but I think this looks better. I mean, having the menu here. No, yeah, I think having the menu like this looks better, so that when you click on it, it swipes from left to right. All right, so though when you click on it, even regardless of where you put it, by default, the behavior is that it will slide from left to right. But I just feel it is very good naturally to put it after the icon. You can put it anywhere you want to, but I hope you get the point. So you now go to style, because we don't need this background here on this Hamburger panel. So what you go to, once you click on the Hamburger panel, you go to style and you set the background color to, which is under the panel. I think here. No, it's not under the panel. The panel settings. The panel settings is this thing that pops up. So this is the panel, right? So anything that you do here will affect the panel. So one thing I want you to do is first set the panel width. You notice that when I select this, the panel covers everything, even covered far more than the left hand side of the website. So that is why we have to set the panel width. So you can see I can just decide to set it to, I use percentage. Percentage is more accurate in this case, so setting it to like 100% is very good. So let me just set it to like 100%. Let me see how it was done in the other websites. You can decide to even set 80% so that it doesn't cover the entire website. So you can see now that this website uses something like 80%. Good. I've minimized the website that we are working on. Alright, so it's back up now. Let me set the panel width of our own too to be like 80%, so that no, 80 is too much, so I think it's a 90. Yeah, so that we still have some viewing space here down here. You can decide to set yours to be 100%, it doesn't matter though. Just trying to tell you how to go about it. Now we are going to look towards customizing other aspects of the Hamburger menu and how to add menus inside it. The reason why I like this procedure is that you can add anything inside this panel. Do you understand? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you how to do that. You can add anything. You can add buttons, you can add even search bar, you can add banners, you can add images, you can add videos once somebody pops it up.
It's just like editing any other part of your website, unlike most themes that will not provide you with this flexibility. So let's focus on designing the toggle first. This is called the toggle, the one that I used to pop up the menu item. So I'm just going to go to toggle. There are quite a lot of settings to adjust under the toggle menu here. So first thing we want to start with is the text color. So let's give text color black. Let's see our old website, our other website, how they've done theirs. But I really don't like their own. We can improve, right? Can't we? Like, it's too bland. So let's expand this back, and actually this text, we can either get rid of it or we can write something like menu. So let's just keep doing what we are doing. Alright, first thing is we want to change the font color. We need to change the font color first, so that by the time we remove the background, it will not mix with the white background, the text color. So we go to here, we say label color. Label is the color of the text, label. So we change the color, label color, to something like black. Now the toggle icon, I'm going to edit it and I'm going to change the color here to black as well. Now it's time to change the background from blue to something that is empty. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to increase this transparency slider to empty so that we don't have a background. But you will notice one thing, there's a shadow under it here, and we want to get rid of that. The shadow is giving it that border vibe, that it is having a border. So to do that, we're just going to scroll down to this border. Under this border type, we are going to set the box shadow. Click on it like this and click on this back to default. When you do that, the border automatically, wow, the border is still there. So what we will do now is we are going to click on it and use our hand to set the blur to 0. Now you won't see any border there anymore. So here you go, we have a panel. But I think the mobile logo is too big, so I'm just going to reduce it further. So go to style and just reduce this. I like using pixels for the logo, so I'm just going to reduce it to like 85, right? Yeah. And this menu item here, we are going back to editing the Hamburger menu item. You have two options. If you want to decide to use a text on the toggle, right, you can go to content and change this label. You can see menu. I always like to do it like that so that people know that it is a menu, right? Or you can decide to erase it completely. When you erase it, it automatically hides and it rearranges. Well, in our sample website, it is the same way that it was designed, right? But I would like to put a menu label in my own case because it just looks very good that way. Let me just change our icon, because our icon for search is looking way big. So I'm just going to reduce this icon more and more, right? Finally, we are going to reduce the space between this widget and this widget, because the space between these two is just too much. It just appears as if they are fighting, right? But before we do that, I also noticed that the white space between this top menu and bottom menu is too much, which is, I'm suspecting, is a padding. So let's go to style and try to reduce it. Let's give it 0. It's not working. Oh, that's for the panel. No, we are not talking about panel, but the toggle. So let's do it for toggle. So you can see now that it looks much better. We don't want that artificial space. So we have it now, and because we already have spaces around the container, it is okay. Now let me add a padding to the container itself before we now reduce the gap between these two elements. I'll show you how to do that. Let me add the padding here. So I'm just going to click on here and go to advanced. You can unlink all these things so that we can set values independently. So I'm just going to unlink it. Set padding top 5. padding bottom 5, padding left, right. Let me see how 10 would look. So padding right 10, padding left 10. Yeah, I think for mobile this is awesome. I mean, it's okay. I'm still not satisfied with this toggle because it is looking too small to the website logo. But before we go further, let's quickly change the distance between this widget and this. You can actually do that by selecting the widget that is holding them, the immediate parent, which is this widget. This is the immediate parent, this is the grandparent. So you select the parent, and what you do is you reduce this gap here to, like, let's say 5. You can see now that they are closer, so let's give it like 10. So this is an LD distance, not too far and not too close. So anytime you want to reduce the distance between anything that is inside a particular container, select the container and change these values. All right, so this is good. And we have a menu item here. One thing I don't like is the fatness of this close button. It's too fat. Waiting happen. So as a designer, I like to be going into detail of everything to have full control. But before we just go ahead, let's increase the font size of this menu here. So I'm just going to go, though it is not on the inspiration website, but I mean, it is what it is. We can make it look good. So we just go to icon style, label styles. I'm just going to increase the size, which is size. I'm just going to increase this, give it like 20. All right, this looks good. So let's scroll up. It's still not looking good to me. I'm not satisfied, but this is okay. Yeah. So let's just to make sure that everything is aligned, center aligned. Yeah, they are. Let's see this logo. Advanced, center align. Let's look at the parent elements. Advanced, center align. Align self rather. Alright, so this is okay for our mobile menu. If I click on it, you see it, right? Click on it, you see it. Now, I told you earlier, I like to change the icon, the close icon for the toggle. So let's see. Panel. I'm trying to see where we can do that. You can actually change the direction from where this toggle appears. This panel appears. You can change it from right to left or from left to right, so you can see the difference here. But it just naturally feels make more sense to open from right to left. All right, so I wanted to talk about changing the toggle icon. So here it is. The hamburger icon here, this is it. You can actually change it, as you can see here. You can do something like this, or you can even import. You can even upload your own SVG here. How to do that? You go onto a website called icondoc.com. You search for Hamburger. I'm teaching you this so that you can build more custom websites. You are not restricted to Elementor icons. So you go to icon, but the only issue I have with this method is that you're going to have to color your icons before you bring it into Elementor, else you may not be able to color it. So in this icon box, I'm just going to search for Hamburger menu, so that we can see options that we have. All right, so you just look at it and see which one works better for you. I think I like this. No, I don't like it because the edges are too round. I don't like the fact that the edges are round. So I like this. Right, so all you need to do is download it. Once you download it, you'll be able to import it. Sometimes these websites will force you to register an account before you use it, but that shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. So once you download it here, you can see it here. I've downloaded it. I'm just going to go onto this, click on this icon, then bring it inside. Now we have brought it inside. We just click on insert media. Now you have the icon. I think I love this menu. Now I was complaining about the close menu here that is fat, so I'm just going to go to the website again and I'm going to look for close icon. Alright, so we have something. I like this because it's not that fat and it's not too slim. Alright, so we go here and I upload the close icon here. Gonna go here and bring it in. Now we have it. I'm going to insert media, so that way when I click on this I see this. But now the close icon only changed for the active panel. Now we also need to set it for here. You can see that icon that appeared on the Hamburger menu before this thing popped up. So this is it. You have to change it from here. So I'm just going to upload this SVG and I'm going to select the same close icon that we downloaded so that everything can make sense. Oh, it is still showing and I have no idea, but let's see. It is still showing despite the fact that I've changed it. Let me change it from here then. Let me change it. So here I'm going to click on close. I think I made a mistake earlier. Alright, now I just set it. Now you can see that it's working now. Alright, so basically what I did was change the close icons and change the Hamburger icons. I upload SVG, upload SVG, upload SVG. Where did I download it? Is from this website called icondoc.com. Right? From this website called icondoc.com. Alright, so now we have successfully built an header for mobile. Let me see if I can even change the icon of this search menu. So let's go to styles and let me see toggle. We are unable to change it from here, but there are other ways you can achieve that. Let me just don't bore you with too many complex procedures over little gains. Alright, so now don't forget to set the responsive settings of this mobile menu, else it is going to be showing on desktops and we don't want that. Remember, we hid this desktop menu for mobile, but if we don't hide this for desktop, it's going to be showing two menus on desktop. It is going to be showing both this and this, so we have to hide this for both tablets and desktops. So we click on this container, we go to advanced, we go to responsive here, then we hide it on tablet portrait, we hide it on desktop. Now today is my mommy's birthday. I gotta go, but I have to finish this. Alright, so now that I've hidden this menu will not show on desktop but only show on sorry for that disturbance. This menu will only show on desktop. Will only show on mobile and will not show on desktop. So I'm going to select it, Ctrl P. Now you can see that it's not showing. Now let me switch to desktop mode. You can see that the mobile menu is not showing. Ignore this Elementor header text. It doesn't have anything to do with the menu. Once we view on the front end, you will not see it. So you can see now that everything is on point. Mad. So now we have a mobile menu. Remember, I have not put content inside this mobile menu, and that is exactly what we're going to do now. So I'm going to click on update, and I'm now going to create a template which is going to go into the mobile menu. So I'm just going to click on create new template. It will automatically give me the canvas to put in to create something. So anything we put inside here we go into this space, right? So let's just start designing. Basically what we need to put inside here is just the menu. So let's go to menu. I'm just going to click on, I think WordPress menu can do it. Let me see. All right, so I'm just going to make the layout vertical, right? So this is it. Let me see alignment. Should I make it like this? But I really don't like the fact that the whole underline is showing for the whole content. So let's see how we can get that fixed. Width, custom. but I really don't like the fact that. So you know what, let's just try another menu widget. I don't want to waste my time on that. So let's type menu, and let's see. Oh yeah, let's see this same menu that we use for our desktop. Remember, everything we put inside here we automatically show inside this content anytime we post. So just, you can also rename the template so that you can easily, rename templates by clicking this gear icon on the bottom first. Once you do that, you can now rename the templates. Though this is for better management, change it to mobile menu content. You can always rename your templates, even this one that we are designing. You can give it Elementor header or header menu. Header or just header. You can just give it like Nav Header, right? So you can update it so for the changes to take effect. This one too, mobile menu content, is okay like that. So you are going to change this from horizontal to vertical. All right, so you can see now that you have something. But then this drop down placement, because we are using a vertical menu, it only makes sense to make it at the bottom so that anytime you click on the drop down, it appears on the bottom. Now I would also like to put a gap, which is called indent in typesetting. Indent means the space before the start of a new paragraph. So we are going to put an indent in the sub menu items by adding a padding. So let's see what options we have. So we go to style, and we add a padding to the drop down. So padding here, padding means space inside a widget or an element. A space that you put inside an element is called padding. A space you put around, outside an element, is called what? Margin. Right? Just so you know that the difference between margin and padding is where the space exists. All right, there are different applications for that. As you progress in web design, you understand. So now let me put some padding so that any drop down menu will have a little space before it. So I'm just going to go here, padding, and I'm going to put on the left hand side, I'm going to give it like 20. Now you see that there is always going to be space when you put on a drop down here. All right, so which is good. Next thing we want to do is set the color. We are not setting any background color, we just want to keep things simple because we are running out of time. We can come back later to customize it, but you get the point. So we can actually make the color like this. So let me just do it. You can actually make the color like this. So let me just give the color of this Hamburger panel. Let me see what color it is. Yeah, it is still there. So let me just give it the background color. Let me expand it back and go here. So I mean we can just set it from here. Let's give our Hamburger panel, this is the panel settings. So background type classic. The color is already here, I think. Light teal. Yeah. So you have it. All right. So that is it. I'm just going to click on update. Now let's continue our content. So here we have those borders too down here, but I have decided not to include borders in our drop down menu. Why? Because it really doesn't make it look any good, but just some slight modifications. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep editing this drop down menu. There is this icon, which is the drop down menu, mobile menu. We want to change the icon, right? This drop down icon here. Because I believe that this icon is too fat, it's not making it look fine. Let's see what we got here. in the icons library. So let me just type down and let's see if this icon will work. All right, this is not looking too fat like the other one, so I'm just going to do the same for this one. So I'm just going to put in right this or this, yeah. All right, I think for the desktop menu here, I made an inconsistency here. For under content, the icons for the drop down, you can see that they are slightly different here. So the second icon is supposed to be chevron right, not this angle right, else it is going to be fat. You can't see it anyways, but I mean, I just like to, so you can see now that the icons are both having the same width, which is good. So let's update again. All right, so here it is. We need to make this menu pop. So first go to style, top level menu. We have text color. So you can see that the mobile menu items are not in capital letters. So we are going to leave it as is, but we're going to change the colors. So we are going to set the top level menus, which are these ones, and not the drop down. These are the drop down, which are why these are the top level menu. So top level menu items, text color, we are going to make it black, right? Then we are also going to do the same for drop down menu. Text color, we are going to make it what? Black. All right, so we're also going to increase it a little bit so that the font is a bit thick. So we go to typography, which is under drop down menu here first. Let's do that for, let's give it like 500, which is medium. Do the same thing for top level menus. Go to typography and set it as 500, right? Now we have our mobile menu content. You don't need to do anything else. Just forget about the width that you are seeing from here to here. It is going to adjust itself once you check the mobile menu. Now, when we click on update, all we need to do is to refresh this page, because if you don't refresh, then you won't see the changes on mobile, because it will still be like this if you don't refresh. So I would normally just refresh it so that I can see the mobile menu content. Oh, it is not there yet. So what can we do? We click on the mobile menu content and we assign the templates to it. So under this choose template, you just search for it. I think we named it mobile menu content. So this is it. And anytime you click on this, look at what is happening here. No, there's an important change that we need to make on the template then. So I'm just going to close it back and I'm going to click on update. Mind you, any change that we make on the template here, right, is not going to reflect here until we refresh this page. So just take note of that. Now when I click on this, the reason why we add that issue is that this thing is assuming that we are viewing the page on mobile, so it's behaving like a mobile menu. No, we don't want that behavior. We are going to modify it from here. So how do we do that? Click on the menu item, go to content, then this enable mobile trigger, this option, set it to off, so that regardless of what device it is, it will never fold. So let's refresh this page and let's go to menu view and mobile view, and you can see now that we have our stuff here, our menu here. All right, so I think that is okay for. Oh, we have a background for this sub menu and we are going to go remove it. It doesn't make sense, right? So let's go to our styles and look for drop down styles, right? And drop down styles, drop down, we are going to explicitly set the background by ourselves because it is showing white. We are going to set it to transparent. Look, what I did. I moved this transparency bar to the end. It doesn't matter what color you choose. So let's see if that fixes it. So let's go back. Remember, I changed the background color for the container itself, not the item. So there's a difference between drop down settings and the drop down item styles. So item styles affect the items which are inside, while the outside, the styling options outside affects the whole container of that particular section, which is the drop down in this case, which is this. All right, so let's see if that helped. So let's refresh it. Let's go back to our mobile view and let's see. So you can see now that the white background is gone. Okay, which is good. Now we have a perfect WordPress menu, right, for both desktop and mobile, right? Look, for both desktop and mobile. All right, so we can actually make more modifications, such as increasing the font size and increasing the spaces between them, but I'm going to save that for later. Or should I just do that now? Let's just do that now. So all you need to do is come to the mobile menu content template and go to top level items, go to typography and size, give it like 20, and under the drop down, under the drop down settings here, you look for typography actually, which is this item styles, then give it a font size of 18, or let's say 19. Should I give it 20? Not bad. No, let's give it 19, so that 19, what's this, 19, so that it is smaller than the parent. Yeah, so it is good like that. And should I make it bolder? So to do that, we are just going to go to under typography and add width and increase the width to like semi bold. No, it's okay. It's okay like this. Don't let us make it bolder. But what we can do is increase the gap between the top level menu items. So let's see if we can do that here. So what we can do here is add paddings. I told you earlier, paddings is the space around an element. So let's give it a top padding and a bottom padding of 5, so that we have a total of 10. Or we can give it like 7. It's just to add space and breathing space to the elements. All right, so let's click on update. Let's give it like 5.5. I think 5.5 is an LTE. All right, so it is okay like that. Here we are. So now it's time to start working on the footer, right? On the footer, to do that, we still need to just go to Team Builder. You can access Team Builder from any Elementor page. So just click on Elementor, Team Builder. Now it gives you this pop-up. You create a footer, because that is what we are building next. We don't currently have a footer template, so we're just going to add new. Now let's see how the footer of this website looks. So we are going to build that. Once we are done building the footer, we are going to move on to the part 3 of this web design training or web design video. My group was originally not meant to be a training. It is just a group where I'll be dropping my workflow and you just be watching me work. But well, it is okay like this. I like the way it is going, so it is not a problem. Now it is time to design the website's footer. How do we go about it? We first need to create the section, the container. We first need to create the container, of course. So here it is. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to select Flexbox, and I'm going to select this down direction column. Look here, and I'm going to color my container blue. which is the color we have here. So let's give it blue. I think we already have it as part of our brand color. Right now, the logo appeared here first, so I'm just going to put logo, site logo here. Now, one thing you would see is that the site logo that was used here is white, but let's see what we can do or how we can do magic. Right, so let's go to CSS filters here and increase the brightness to full and increase the contrast to 0. That magic is not working. Saturation to it's not working. So it just means that we are going to get the white version of this logo. To do that, just going to right click, save image as logo, Milo logo white. It's already here. Right, so I'm just going to save the image as white. Alright, it is saved in WebP. Formerly, WordPress will not be able to use WebP, and I would not be surprised if there are still some other programs that are not able to interpret WebP. But thankfully, WordPress has evolved and can now use WebP images. In the event that you download an image and it is WebP and the whatever web platform you are using does not support it, you have to go and convert it to JPG or PNG, depending on what type of format it is. So I'm just going to replace this menu. I'm just going to replace this with an image widget. So image, put it here, and I'm going to delete this, add an image, drag the white logo that we downloaded here. Sorry for the interruption. Alright, so I'm just going to say here, now we have the logo, but we're going to have to reduce the size. So reduce the width to something like 10% here, but I like to use pixels, especially when I don't need my size to be relative with the width of the screen that is viewing it. So I'm just going to give it like 120, or I think 120 is too much. Let me just give it like 120. Is 120 too much? No, let me give you like 110. Alright, so here it is. We have 110, right? Now you will notice that this logo is too close to the border of the section. That is where we have padding. So I'm just going to click on this section, which is the container. I'm going to go to advanced and I'm going to add padding. I told you, let me tell you the difference between margin and padding. Margin is the space. If I add margins now to the top, if I add 50 now, it is just going to create a space outside of this blue color because it is outside of the element. But if I add padding, it is going to create the space inside. So that is exactly what we need. I'm adding a padding of what? 50 px on top of this section, and I'm adding a padding of, let's say, 20 on the bottom. Right, so this is the image. I think the 50 px is too much, so let me reduce it to like 30. Alright, so yeah, this is the image. Next thing we have here is a divider. So I'm just going to put a divider here. So I'm just going to type divider, put a divider below this image. Right, we are now going to set the width of the divider to like, let me use pixels again like I've always said. So I'm just going to set the width to like 260. So you would notice that you can't distinguish between the divider. Hey, I'm in a meeting. Yeah, don't shout. I'll beat you. You will notice that I can't quite see the divider, and that is because it is black in color. I have to set the style to white for me to see. You can even see it is hiding here, and I'm gonna have to bring it to the center of the container. So here I'm just going to go to content, put it center here. Let's see. Be fast. Sorry. Me, Roger, more. I'm meeting. Sorry about that. So you notice that the divider is too wide, and I think it's not as wide. Okay, I think it's just about the right width, or we can just make it like 280. Okay, so you notice that it's too white versus this. How are we going to fix this? We are just going to add transparency to it. So I'm just going to go here, divider color, and I'm going to change this transparency settings slider so that at least it can match this. I think we need to add more transparency though, so we go further. All right, so this is it. Next thing we want to add are these things right here. So how do we do that? How do we add these things here on page? We are going to add a widget called the icon list widget. Icon list. So I'm just going to bring it below this menu here, and I'm going to style it. Remember, you can actually set the gap between, you can see here, but I think it's just about the right amount of gap. So let's give it like 10. So let's go to this icons list. I go to style, and I go to style, and I go to icon. Right, nope, yeah. So here it is. What I'm going to do now is go to content, delete the icon, so that what we have is only going to be text. But before I do that, let's just give it a nice text color so that we can see, so that it is legible, right? So I'm just going to go to text. We are not going to be using icon, so I don't need to style the icon, but I can just make it the same. So what I can do, I'm just going to give it like white, and for the text as well, I'm going to be giving it, no, I'm not using any text shadow now. Okay, so color white. This is for the text, right? So, but because we are not going to be using icon, the color of the icon does not really matter. I'm deleting it anyways. So here we go, I'm deleting it. You notice that every list that I had is appended to the bottom. You notice that every list that I had is appended to the bottom, but we can actually make it inline in such a way that they face in front of each other. So you can see here, what we have here is this. So now we have a list just similar to the way that they have here, and we can actually add links to these things. We can actually also specify the space between them. My other baby is crying. Let me just. Apologies for the interruption again. So here I'm just going to give it a decent space between them. So we have 25 pixels for each. All right, so now what next is that we are going to align it to the center, which is this, which is exactly what they did here. Next again is that we are going to make this text to be uppercase, which I taught you in the menu section of the desktop, for here. We are going to do the same here. Typography, transform, uppercase. Now you have this, but I noticed that these are too big. So I'm just going to make the size to be 14px, right? 14px. All right, so now we need to modify the content so that it matches what we have here. Home1, Home2, Home service. But I'm not going to be adding exactly this. So I'm just going to add a few useful content. So we have home. So we have things like
services. We have featured service. You can see that as I'm typing in lowercase or small letter, it is just transforming to uppercase or capital letter. So we have blog. Sorry. Then we have, let me duplicate this and edit it. Then we have about. Let me duplicate this. Then we have contact. Alright, so here I'm just going to duplicate this. Well, let me just see what options I have here. Align save center. Alright, so I'm just going to duplicate this like this. Right, then I can modify the second menu item. Here I can say lead magnet. Magnet. Here I'll say book page, just the way we saw it on the other website, just making menus. The other one I say press. Then this I say resources. Then after resources I add schedule equal. Alright, then I can delete the last one which we don't need. Alright, so yeah, I think this is okay. Then what do we have next is a section like this with two borders. So I'm just going to go here and what can I do? And what I will do is I'm just going to duplicate this section, right? I'm going to duplicate this section, but now that I've duplicated it, I need to add more space. No, let me don't just go that route. Yeah, I need to add more space here, on the bottom here, so I can make the bottom 30 pixels, right? The reason why is because I'm going to be adding a line, like this line here. You see this line? We are going to be doing it. So here it is. I'm going to be adding a border. It's actually a border. So we add the border to the top and bottom only of that section. But let me just sanitize this new section by deleting redundant items here. Yeah, so I'm just also going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. Right, I selected this, and I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to go to border, and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to set it as default. Now, next thing I'm going to do is set the border width, which I think I can give 1.5 for, not 51, I mean 1.5. I have no idea why it's behaving like this. Also, I don't mean to insert a border width to all four sides, so I'm going to unlink them by clicking this, so that I can apply border to only the top and bottom. So 1.5 on the top, 1.5 on the bottom. I'm going to define the border color by doing this. Now we have something here, but that is not all. We still need to do a few things so that the border will be prominent, which will show. So to do that, I'm just going to also duplicate this section again, so that we have one last section that have this social media icons, handles, and this content here. Mọ́mọ́ ìkúrò inú máa bí mi o. Kó àwọn ọmọ ìkúrò kó lọ fi tì mọ́nu yàrá ní dandan ní kó wá sí pálọ̀.
I don't like it. Ṣé wọ́n kọ́ ló ṣílẹ̀kùn? So I think the border. I think the border we added to the top and bottom of this section is too much. So we are just going to go back. I'm just going to click on the first section before I duplicated it. So just going to edit them independently. So just go to border here. I'm just going to give them one for top, one for bottom. Remember, this second one is not going to have a border. So we are not going to do anything yet. Just do it like this because I would like to finish this bottom content. This one here first. This one that says 2024 Milo thing and this and this. Do you understand? So I like to finish that first before I do the border. So to do that, all I need to do is put a section here. Put a container inside the second one, right? And duplicate the container so that they are side by side. So I'm going to duplicate this container, but by default, the default behavior is that they will be stacked on top of each other, but we can actually make them appear side by side by clicking on the parent container, which is their mother, and then clicking on the layout, then clicking on this direction, which says left to right, this, right? So that is it. Once you do that, you have your container stacked side by side. Now you can put in your widget on each side. Now, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a widget here. That is the text widget. So go to select widget, go to text editor here, and I'm going to change the color to white, of course. So go here, change the color to white. But this white is too sharp on the eye, so let's see if cream color will work. I think it is okay. Also, this part, I need to set the hover color so that when you hover on it, and remember that you can add a link. You can add a link to every or all of this list, right? You can add a link to them so that they are clickable. Also, you can set their hover color, right, which is this, the text hover color. You can set it to something like light teal so that when people hover it on it, there is a slight change or difference. So let's see. So you can see it is dimmed. Let me just copy the style and paste it here. So you can actually copy only the style so that I don't have to set it separately for this, so that you can see now that the dim effect on the over is also applied here by just copying the style and pasting it on it. I mean, by just copying an element and pasting the style on another element. Though it only works when the elements are of similar widgets, right? So let's go ahead with our other part. This part I'm editing is the last part of the website, which is this, and exactly what I'm showing you now. I'm going to go to content, replace it, of course, with copyright text. So that I normally go to Google, copyright symbol. Excuse me, please, I'm coming. Alright, so I just go here and I go copy, then I paste it here, like see 2024. I have no idea why this is bold. Is it? Yes, that's how it should be now. Alright, so you can now put your own trademark name. See 2024. My custom theme. So you can reduce the size to like typography. You can give it like 12. 12 is not bad, but you can give it like 14, right? Then one thing I noticed about Elementor text widget is that there's a natural margin that comes with it, or I'll say padding. It's actually a margin, and I don't know why, that comes with it. You see this empty space below the text. You can actually balance it by minusing 15 from the padding. So anytime it gives you this kind of problem, you just reduce the padding to minus 15. You get this, leveled bottom height instead of having the space down. I don't know why the space appears there. It's been a problem for many years with Elementor, but I'm still trying to figure out why that is like that. So I'm going to select the parent element and I'm going to justify the content to the center here. All right. You can see that this element appears big, but don't worry about that yet. It is going to fix itself. The next thing we saw here is the social media icons here: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So we're going to do the same. Just go to Elementor here and you look for social icons widget. So I'm just going to put it inside my container. Again, when placing things inside the container, it may be tricky. Just drop it there like that anyways. Once you drop it there, we need to do a few customizations so that it looks like this. First thing we want to do is set the shape to be circle, and let me see. Just set the shape to be circle and columns to just leave everything as is. Alignment should be left, right? Then the style size, you reduce the size so that we have something like let's say 15. Reduce the padding to 0. No, just delete it. Don't reduce the padding to 0, but give it spacing of like 8, right? Then set this color to custom primary color. Let's see if you can set it here. So this is it. We set the primary color to transparent so that only white icons can show. Right, so that only the white icons can show. Now we remove the spacing. We reduce the spacing so that they can go close to each other a little bit. Now I think we can increase the icon size slightly. Give it like I think like 15, right? Now we want to push these things in front of each other. I'm just going to click on this, and this direction I'm going to click on this. Now you can see now that the direction is they are following each other. Next thing I'm going to do, because I justified this thing in center, that is why they are in the center here. I'm just going to remove this justification. Can you see? So that I can default to start, which is this. All right, so now we have achieved what we want to achieve here. Okay, so and you also notice that in my content, my content starts from here. The reason is because this section needs to be set to full width for the content to start from the beginning. Do you understand? So you can see now that it's now similar to this. When you start a container, when you set it to full width, it takes the whole width that it sees. You have to add padding to even get some spaces on the left. but we are going to do that shortly. Next thing we want to do here is click on this and align items to center, like you can see here. Remember that there is a difference between justifying content and aligning content to center. One is horizontal and one is vertical, and exactly what we've done here, right? So what we've not added now is a YouTube icon. So sorry, we've added a YouTube icon. We just need to add an Instagram icon. So I'm just going to duplicate one of these and change the icon to Instagram. Just going to search Instagram. Remember, if you like, you can add your own custom SVG, but you're gonna have to style it from outside. When I say style it, it means you're gonna use a design program to style it, because I don't think Elementor can color external SVGs. Okay, now that we have all this set up, you can add URL to every icon here. You can add URL to every icon. You can even add over effects, so that when somebody hover on it, you can set the primary color to white. When somebody icon over, you can set the secondary color to a dark color, so that when somebody over, it shows there's a contrast. So yeah, so you have dark, just slightly dark color. You can also copy my color code, so that when somebody hovers on it dims a little bit. So next thing we want to do is add these items: privacy policy, terms and conditions, and all this. So we, similar to what we did here. In fact, I can just copy this and paste it here. Paste, right? No, I'm not going to copy. I'm not going to use this. This is not what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this. Copy and paste it here, right? But we are going to have to like reverse this effect that we added here, which is to convert every text to uppercase. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to go to text typography default, so that we have our lowercase back, and that is it. I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to go to advanced. I'm going to make this end so that it can knock off itself to the other end of the section, right? So that we can have this. So so let's check it. Padding bottom. So this padding for this section here, we are going to get rid of it for both the top and bottom, so that you can have this, right? Now, what we need to add for this section, remember, it does not have a border, and we are going to check if we have removed the border. The border should be removed. No, we have to remove the border. Set it to none, so that it doesn't have a border. The only one that will have a border is this one here, and which we have not done. I intentionally chose to do it last, so that the border can be shown very well. Now, the last thing we just need to do here is add a padding to both sides. So go to advanced, padding on the right, 30 and 30 on the left. So you can see that we have a padding of 30 on the right and 30 on the left. I'll be right back. I need to brush my child's teeth. He's going to school.
Because I did not sleep last night. Wow. Man like but tomorrow for fine and what like. Especially that crops. Ah, my husband. Oh no. I like it.
Wo fi mí lẹ̀ ló kàn mí kan kú rọ́bìṣì. Yeah, good morning. I'm waiting for Maurice to join the call, but he already sent me a voice note. It has to do with the career page chatbot. Is that correct?
So he sent a voice note saying somebody should reach out to me. She set up a meeting for a board.
Set up a meeting. Sorry, okay, I got it. I'm going to do that this morning with you.
When they were doing this thing was last year. Followed the that I forgot the name.
Alright, sorry, I got it. I was actually. Alright, so it's okay, don't press it. Sorry. Alright, so all you just need to do now is now that you've done all the necessary settings here, you can now change the values inside this icon list widget, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So we have privacy policy. So let me just do that. Privacy policy. We also have terms and conditions. We have Melo theme, blah blah blah. So you can just see my custom theme design. Alright, so those are the three texts that we can find here. Well, I think ours is a bit too big, so I'm just going to reduce the font size from so I'm just going to go to style, text, typography, and I'm going to change this from 14 to 12. So I'm going to do the same for this. I'm just going to go to style, typography, and change this from 14 to 12. I'm going to leave the icons as is and every other thing as is. Remember, we haven't designed this. Alright, so now let's get started with that. I'm just going to drop two containers stacked side by side inside this large container. So this is container 1. I'm going to duplicate this. It is most likely going to stack on top of each other, but you already know how we do it, right? We click on the mother container and we go to layout and we set the direction to go from left to right. So you can see now the containers are stacked side by side. The next thing, what we'll do next is actually because we need to put this divider here. So how we do it is that we first put the text here. Just going to say text widget. So let me just put text widget here. I'll say now booking. Now go to typography, change the text color. Go to styles, change the text color. Change the text color. Bye. So change the content. The N should be P. So yeah, I have no idea why it's using the. Okay, I used heading. I shouldn't use heading. I should have used text editor. Alright, so I will say now book. Go to style, go to typography, then transform to uppercase, change the color to white, right? Then change the color to white. Then what can we do? We go to advanced, then we go to align save end, right? Align save end, right? So I'm not going to set the style typography here. I'm going to set the size to like 14, you know. Let's give it like 12 because I think it is small. No, let's give it like 14. All right, so just going to, now that we have the now booking there, I'm going to duplicate this. Remember I told you can set the distance between two widgets using this feature on their mother container. So I'm just going to select this mother, this is the mother and these are the children. So I'm going to select the mother and I'm going to reduce the spacing to like 5. All right, or let me give it like 10. So remember I told you that you can actually reduce the distance, I mean this empty space, by putting a bottom margin of 15. So let's just do that on the heading only. So we say now booking, then the text can now be, what is it, winter 2023. You can actually change your own to be Harmattan 2024, right? Then you go to style, you go and remove the transform, sorry, not lowercase, default, right? So this is it. This Harmattan here, I think it is a little bit bigger, so I give it like 16, right? Yeah, so we have it. Now what next? We click on the model element and we go to advanced, then we align save to center, right? So that it is always on the center, right? So go to layout, justify content to center, which is also good. But you don't need to do that, just leave it like this. So it is only align content on the model element that you just need to do. So center. You also have to do this. You do it for this though. So you can just do it now. Select the other element and align save center. You will not notice any change because there are no content there, but it is a good thing to do. Now we just do the same thing here. Work with us. So I'm just basically going to copy this and paste it here. But instead of making it to come here, we just go to advanced and I'm going to align save start, right? So here it is. Work with us, hello@milo.com. So this content copy, I paste it on it, paste. This again, you're gonna have to go to advanced, then align save to start, so that we have it like this. Then click on this. Let's just try to see if we can create a balance. Here, I'm trying to figure out why there is an inconsistency in space between this and this, this and this, but I think I know why. The reason why is because the spacing for this widget here under layout is 10, while the one here is, I think, is 20. So we need to bring it back to like 10. So you can see now that they are now consistent. Now we just need to change the content. Work with us. All right, so yeah, we just put an email address here. So we just say me@uu.ng. So which I think works. Now the last thing we now want to do here is put a border in this center so that there is that divider effect. So what we will do is that we'll first what we'll do is that we first remove this space that is down here, so that, you know, I told you Elementor issue. So we remove the space, we give it like -15, so that we don't have saggy lines. So we go here, bottom 15, right? You see it now. So click on the container, the mother container, and add a padding all round. So give it like 50. No, don't give it like 50. Give it like 20 here. And do the same for this one too here. Add a padding like 20, not margin or padding. Now, how do we create this divider? Is that we need to create a border. We need to create a border for one of these two dividers. So you can either choose the right divider and create a border for only the left border, such as this style border, solid, unlink them, this border width, give it. So when you unlink them, it means that you can set borders independently. So in this case, if I'm working with this container, I can set the border on the left hand side. So I'm just going to set 1 on the left hand side. Now you see what happens. We have a border on the left hand side. Let me set a color so that you can see very well. So now you can see the border now. We have it on the left hand side. Alright, so that is just, you can either do that on the left hand side for this container, or you do that on the right hand side for this container. It will give you the same result, right? So whichever one you do, is fine. Then you might want to compensate for this space here by just adding an extra padding here. So I'm just going to go to advanced. I'm going to click on this and add an extra padding on typically the extra padding you are adding, or in fact, just click on this container, right? This container itself, this mother container, and set the gaps between them to 0. Do you see? That way, there will be no extra space between the two containers. So you can see now that they are tight and close to each other. So it doesn't matter where you set your border, the gap between the two is going to be equal. So you can see now. All right, we can further reduce the height of this line by removing the padding inside this container, removing the padding on the top and the bottom only. So look at top, bottom, right? You can do the same thing for this so that you have a balanced equation. So remove padding for top and remove padding for bottom. So now let's see. You can see now you have something similar to this, but I see that they are too close. They are too close, so you need to add more padding to the right and left. So let me make the padding 30 30. So 30 30. So let me do the same for this. 30 30. Alright, so you can see, I think it is good like this. Next thing we want to do is just reduce the transparency of the border so that it looks like the old website. So all you need to do, bring your transparency slider somewhere here. Let's see how it looks like. Good. Now all you need to do is just copy the same color code here with the transparency effect added and use it to determine the color of this top and bottom section here. So we go to style. After clicking on the main section in the middle here, we go to border and we set the color to be this, right? So now let's see. Now you can see that we have something similar to what we have here. I noticed that there is a bit of differences, like in terms of spacing, but it's something that we can easily fix. All right, so let's try to fix that. So let's add a couple more ample spacing around our line. So let me start by adding more spacing here. So here, and let me start by adding more spacing here to space between, give it like 35, and do the same for here too. Space between, give it like 35. Yeah, so I think the text size here are very small. So let's just give it like text size of 12. It's not bad. Text size of 12. I really don't like using odd numbers as text size. I don't know why. Maybe, but yeah. So here it is. I noticed that my own lines are too obvious, so I'm just going to increase the transparency. So go to border, you go here and even add transparency further. So let me copy the code so that I can apply it to this. Sorry, border here. Do you get it? So this is it. Is there any difference? Just some slight difference, I think, in font sizes and stuff. But overall, if I wanted to be precise, I would just measure the exact font size that they are using. But that's a long thing. It's still a good thing that we are able to get it this far though. So I mean, this is okay for a start. Let me just give some padding to this button. Yeah. So let me add more paddings to here too. Here. Padding top. Let's give it like 35. Bottom 35. Yeah, so it's not a bad thing. So we've been able to get the footer set up. Let me see how the footer will look on mobile. Unlike the header and footer on desktop, we don't need to design a separate footer for mobile. So you see how I'll do it now. You see how I'll go about it. So let me just see how the footer looks here on this website on mobile devices. All right, so on the tablets, right, it looks like this. On mobile, I believe it's going to be stacked on top of each other. On mobile, it looks like this. All right, so let's do the same. All right, so here we first need to get things right. First off, add more space by removing unnecessary paddings. Here you can see. So I'm just going to give it padding on the right 5, padding on the left 5. That should do. Here I'm just going to expand, distribute the spaces, content width, full width. I'm going to do the same full width for here too. Content width, full width. Select this and layout, gaps 0. Right, we are just trying to make some space for each other. Right, so here I'm just going to select width. Can you see now? I've been able to select, but I'm going to use percentage. It's advisable to use percentage so that it is always accurate. So just use, there are some times when percentage is good, especially when it has, so that the spacing can be even throughout the different sizes of the tab you get. So give it like 70 and give it, full width, percentage, layout. Yeah, I'll give it like 100. I have no idea why 70 and 100% is working together, or it is what it is. Let's give it like 70. Yeah, so we have for this, and now here I think we are good for this one, for this mobile. Yeah, so for mobile yeah, for mobile, yeah, you can just, for mobile you can stack it on top of each other instead of side by side. So you do this here. Can you see? All I had to do was just change the direction. Click on the mother. Click on their mother and then change the direction. You can also reduce the gap between them by just adding like 5. You can see now here as well. Click on the ace and I think this is like this because it is long, but we can actually come here. Sorry. Text. We can add what we call line height, so that there is a space between the top text and the bottom text. It's called line height. All right. So here we go. We have our design, but then there is still something we have not added here. This model, because we want it to be stacked side by side, just the same way to stack here on mobile. So we click on the model and make sure that the layout is facing this. Now, if the layout is facing this, you need to set the width of each of these elements so that they don't overflow. So here, come here. First, let's remove the padding. We add the padding later. So go to layout, content width, full width. Here again, layout, content width, full width. Now, go back here and change this to percentage. Set the width to like 50. Let's go back to the model first. Yes, the gaps are set to 0. So select here, set the width to like 50%, and come here to set the width to 50%. Now you can see. Now it's time to adjust their placement. Now come here. This should be shifted to like the center, right? This should also go to the center. This advanced align cell center, and this should also align itself to the center. Now we have this divider here naturally. All right. Similar to what we did for the first one, we just go to style, we go to text, we go to, sorry, not text shadow, let me remove it. We go to typography and line height. We increase it a little bit so that, yeah, so I can just, remember that you can set space between for mobile separately. So, but I've decided to give it like 35. So I'm just going to copy this and paste the style on the second one. But we can further reduce the font size, though that would mean that I'm setting the font size independently for, let me just set it for everything so that the font size is also small on desktop and every other thing else. So just go to text and I'm going to go to typography and set the font size to be, sorry, not 1214, just 12. Right, you can see it here. Copy and paste the style here. All right, so now we have our footer ready. You can see it's very responsive. Now let me add some paddings to the sections on mobile. So padding top, let me just unlink these values. Right, padding top 30, padding bottom 30, padding right 20, padding left 20. So this is it. Let me do the same for this. So I'm just going to go to here, padding top 30, padding bottom 30, padding right 20, padding left 20. Padding left 20, padding right 20, padding top 20. No, 20 is too much. Padding top 10, padding bottom 10, because it is the last part of the footer. Yeah. All right, so we have our footer set up, and we can actually add a link to this Milo logo, but on the original website there is no link there. So you can set the link to be the custom URL and set this dynamic tag and set the site URL, like the site address. So anytime somebody clicks on the link, it just goes to the website address, which is the home page. So thank you everybody. I hope you learned a lot. So I'm just going to update and I'm going to view our website from the front end. Again, before I close this, you can see now we have our header and we have our footer now. right? The next in the next in the next part, which is the part 3, in the next part we are going to in the next part we are going to be designing the hero section and other section as well of the home page. So basically what we'll be doing in the next part is designing the home page. It is going to be so wonderful, and I hope to see you again. Thank you, everybody. So we successfully designed the header. We've designed the mobile header, which is this, and we've designed the footer. All right, so let's check our Google Docs again, what we've been able to complete. We've designed this header, we've designed this, we've designed this. Tomorrow we'll do this, and this. All right, so thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this one. Sorry, before I go, I just want to show you again that it is very, very necessary for me and for you as well. If you are following this tutorial using this WP platform, it is very necessary for you to go to backups, because you never can tell when next you are coming here. So it's very important for you to go to dashboard, go to your backups, just the same way I taught you, create a backup, and make sure you download it before you leave, because if you don't and your time is up on this website, you lose all your progress. All right, so I'm just going to download my backup, wait for it to finish downloading, and onto the next one. Thank you, everybody. I hope you really got value from this. Hello? Yeah.